learners, I welcome you all to the second lecture of the lecture series of Database Management System. In our last lecture, I discussed with you some basic terminology related to Database Management System like what is data, what is database, and what is DBMS. Myself, Dr. Debika Bhattacharyya, a passionate teacher. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. In this particular lecture, we will see what is views. Views is very important part of DBMS because it gives some extra protection and security to database. So we will discuss first what is views, and then we will discuss the disadvantages of file-based system. So let's start. So let's start with database view. Now, what is database view? Database view is a subset of the database which has been sorted and displayed the relevant portion of the data from the database to the relevant users. I know that you have not understood from this very basic definition. So I will give you some very good example. And one or more source table, they make up our views. And remember that views are created dynamically. That means once the program is run, it will be created dynamically from several source tables. Those source tables will be also called base table. So let's take an example. Suppose table A contains employee ID, employee name, employee salary, and employee skills. Okay, that means all the employee information that will be kept in table A, but table B contains same employee ID, employee name along with that qualification. And I want to show this database to the particular manager who wants to judge the performance of the employee based on his qualification and skill. That means that manager does not need salary information of that employee because salary is a very confidential information for that employee. So what we can do, we can take these two tables, table A and table B, which are called base table. From there, by writing some query, I will create a view for the manager so that manager will be able to see only a part of these two tables. Means I have created a view using 3 columns, name, qualification and skill. That means manager will be able to see only the employee name, employee qualification and employee skill. So you have seen that we have omitted the salary column and we have created a view dynamically from 2 tables, employee ID, name, salary, skill, which is table A, and table B, employee ID, name, qualification, and we have generated name, qualification and skill. So manager will be able to see only these 3 columns from these 2 tables. So definitely you can agree with me that views have given certain level of protection to the database, and definitely it has given security to the database. And remember that views are always read-only and they are not stored in any hard disk. So they doesn't need any kind of additional storage space. This view creation is possible using DBMS, which was not possible for file-based system. So these views are a very important feature of DBMS. Now, let's first understand what is a file-based system. See, DBMS has come up in the market only in 1960s. But before that, how people used to handle data items? They used at that point of time file-based system. So operating system's file system, it is a software that manages and organizes the files in a storage medium. Okay, so suppose you have written a C program. That means that C program will be stored in the hard disk and that will be managed by the operating system. Because to the operating system, file system is known. But definitely this file system is not known to DBMS. That I will also discuss. Windows, for example, supports a variety of file systems, but NTFS is the most popular in today's world because these files are commonly organized in a hierarchy. They are organized in a hierarchical directory structure, and this file system, that's why allows us to browse the file from that directory. Now, the data is also stored across multiple files, and definitely separate files may have different formats, and these files, they will be containing the data. So the data and the program, they are residing at the same place. So this is all about file-based system. But file-based system has some disadvantages. First disadvantage is difficulty in accessing data, because each file requires separate processing because they have got different formats, different data items. So naturally each file requires separate processing, and data redundancy is the second disadvantage of file-based system, because same data, like you have seen, same employee data can be employee ID, employee name, employee phone number. They are kept in different departments. Account department is also having employee ID, name, qualification, skills, salary, everything. And also the class allocation department or the project allocation department, they are also having same information of those same employees. Naturally, there will be redundancy. The structure of the data files is embedded in application program. So naturally, if there is any change in the structure of files, definitely it will require you to change all programs that access the files. This is third disadvantage. Fourth disadvantage definitely does not support view creation, as I already mentioned. And since different file requires separate processing, naturally more backups are necessary. With all these disadvantages of file-based system, then DBMS was actually brought by IBM in 1960s. So let's understand what are the advantages, main advantages of DBMS. First, definite advantage is no redundancy, because data is stored in a central database. So any change that you are doing in the data, it is reflected immediately. So there is no chance of entering duplicate data. Second advantage is data integrity, means data is always accurate, consistent, so you can rely on the data of the database. Also, views can be created. A view is a separate portion or snapshot of the database, and definitely you can create the views in the database. That is third advantage. And backup and recovery is very, very easy process in DBMS, because DBMS automatically takes care of backup and recovery with the help of certain software programs. So with this, my dear learners, you have definitely seen why we had to reject file-based system and why we adopted DBMS in place of file-based system. So with this, we are concluding our discussion today, but definitely in our next lecture, we will be discussing some more interesting topic. I hope you have enjoyed my lecture, and thanks for joining me. Stay tuned.